Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXC Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. That 200 meters that was coming up over the weekend with Brianna Lyston, her first one for the 2024 season outdoors, lived up to its billing. Wow, 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 wow. When I tell you the girls threw down, and I'm excited for what is to come for the NCAA season leading into the NCAA championships to see who will win that coveted 200-meter title. Also the 100 meters, but this is about the 200 meters right now. So let's get into things. Now, leading into the racetrack is, I have to say, I was eyeing the likes of a Jamaica Ford, a Mackenzie Long, a Kayla Jackson, Amber Anning. All these girls came up in heat one. Now, I was pretty much interested to see what would happen because, again, indoors, Jamaica Ford was really killing it. I'm talking about running at 22.34 seconds indoors. Crazy. I wanted to see if those times would translate outdoors and what kind of performance we would get. Now, from my personal, experience, sometimes these performances don't necessarily translate. So I was eager to see what this first 200 meters would look like for these girls that were killing it indoors. Now, Chakis, I have to say this race lived up to its billing, but who won is not who you were probably thinking. Walking away with the win in the first heat for the women's 200 meters was Mackenzie Long, steamrolling everybody, running at 22.18 seconds. Yes, I did not stutter. 22.18 seconds. Fantastic running. Now, y'all know that Mackenzie Long finished third to Brianna Lyston a few weeks ago over that 100 meters. So, this performance was pretty eye opening, especially again coming off the heels of what was happening from an indoor perspective, where Jamaica Ford was the girl indoors. She was the it factor. But in this race, she was handily, soundly beaten by the likes of a Mackenzie Long. Now, unfortunately, track is the wind was above the allowable. A positive 4.1 meters per second wind. Yes, that is crazy. The wind was literally swirling. I did see, a negative 1.8 in the second heat, but in the first heat, yeah, they got a positive 4.1 meters per second wind. I believe that this was the most wind on the day, but yeah, it was crazy at this meet, and that was the win. But I still did the conversion, and Chuckies, I'm not gonna say, even with the conversion, this was still a phenomenal run by Mackenzie Long. Now, in dead wind Chuckies, this race would have been at 22.38 seconds, or in the maximum wind allowed, which is positive 2.0 meters per second, it would have been at 22.24 seconds. So, now, care how you spin it, this is still a fantastic run by Mackenzie Long and eye opening as well, especially when you're looking at, outdoors versus indoor performances. Again, I've said this time and time again. A lot of times, the indoor performances don't necessarily translate outdoors, and the girls that you see doing it indoors don't necessarily come outdoors and do the same performances. And based off this first run, you can clearly see that there's going to be a shift, in my opinion, in terms of who would really stand on top in this women's 200 meters. Now, personally, I do think it's a bit open. I do think this 200 meters is a bit open as we get closer to the NCAA, outdoor championships. But for now, I'm loving the performances from the girls. So that was the first heat. So I was dying to see what Brianna Liston would do. Now she was all the way in the third heat. Now the reason I'm believing they put her in the third heat was because of her seeding heading into this outdoor season. Unfortunately, indoor she only did that 200 meters. Things didn't go according to plan, and as such, she shut down her whole, indoor 200-meter performances. And as such, she would have, not a high ranking in terms of these other girls heading outdoors. But with that said, I was expected to see Brianna Liston come out and do her thing, because our Jamaicans know that Brianna Liston is a 200-meter queen. That's potentially her best event, especially when I consider her other performances. You could say this is her best one, but not gonna lie, I think she's equally good in all of them. But yeah, her 200 meters is definitely where it's at for her. So I was definitely interested to see what she would do. And boy, oh boy, when I tell you, Brianna Liston did not disappoint. She comes out and she slaps us with at 22.46 seconds. Whoa, 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 whoa. First real 200 meters for the season, and she's letting y'all know that I have not missed a beat, I have not lost a touch, and I'm ready to go much, much faster for this season. Wow, 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 wow. When I tell you about Chef's Kiss, I'm telling you Chef's Kiss. Now, unfortunately, this was also above the allowable, the wind. It was a positive 3.1 meters per second wind. Now, when I do the conversion, This time becomes a 22.64 in dead wind, or in the maximum wind allowed, which is 2.0 meters per second. It would be at 22.50 seconds. So still a fantastic performance, still a fantastic run for the first outing for these athletes. Now, in comparison to Mackenzie Long, you would say there seems to be a slight gap, but I will stop you right there and say, no, 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 no. Please remember that Brianna Liston is Jamaican, and how they tend to run is they only give you what they need to give you on the day, which means that in this race, second to her was the athlete that ran 22.82 seconds. Brianna Liston did not feel any pressure in this race to go any faster. And I would posit that if Brenna was in heat one, we would have seen a much better performance from her. But you know what? I'm excited for the races to come because they now know how to seed Brianna Liston in the 200 meters. This 22.46 seconds is going to get her in that A race to run with all the girls that are also running super fast, so that we can see where she really stacks up against the best. So right now, Mackenzie Long takes the win with her 22.18, but I'm not going to lie, Brianna Liston with her 22.46 seconds, I believe would have been able to challenge her in the race. Now, overall, now when we look at the performances, because these are all timed finals, so Mackenzie Long and Jamisha Ford went in the first heat and they took first and second respectively with a 22.18 and a 22.41. Now Brianna Liston was third overall with her 22.46 seconds, but I'm not gonna lie, again, this is an unchallenged 22.46 seconds. What would have happened if she was challenged? Look here, I'm dying to see the races that are to come. But Trackies, you all now tell me in the comment section below. Brianna Lyston comes out and drops a 22.46 seconds. One, she's in the conversation clearly when it comes to NCAA glory over that 200 meters. But not only that, what about a Jamaican perspective? Want to think about the 200 meters, and this is just the start. Who do you think will make the team for Jamaica? Is it too early to ask you all? Well, guess what? It's up in the air right now. I'm putting it out to y'all. Tell me about Brianna Liston's 200-meter prospects this year. One, from an NCAA, perspective, do you think she stands a possibility of really challenging for the win, not only in the 100 meters, but in the 200 meters as well? And do you think, come the Jamaica trials, we will see Brianna Liston go for both that 100 meters and 200-meter double and pretty much try to oust somebody there to get onto the team? Let me know your thoughts, Truckies. All I know, I'm very, very excited, and this is a fantastic run for the first 200 meters for the season. And I know that there's much more to come. Just look at her trending indoors. She got so much better and better as the season progressed, and she ended with a 7:03. Best believe that this is only the beginning for Brianna Liston. I'm excited for Mackenzie Long as well. Jamisha Ford pretty much doing what was expected of her in terms of to come out and really do well, because she was that number one girl indoors. So it would be surprising if she didn't do good. But again, the girls that didn't necessarily do well indoors over that 200 meters are peaking out, and they want a piece of the pie. Let me know your thoughts, as I said. And as usual, like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye.